Welcome back to another video slash discussion video. So today's video slash updated video. So as you guys probably don't know, I was about to do a whole video on the new teaser that just got released, but however it hasn't been released on PlayStation 5. So Epic removed the actual teaser from the yesterday PlayStation. I don't know why, but they didn't add it. So whatever. Basically, if you didn't know, I'll just tell you what the teaser looks like. So I'll read off the teaser itself, and what Fortnite said. So the teaser said, "Don't fly too close to the sun," and then some angel slash character. Now that's a reference to "Don't fly too close to the sun," because that's actually a reference to. I think I mentioned about a video a while ago. I didn't upload it. I'm not sure, but I mentioned about in the Coliseum. Well, the around the map itself, there is a place on the map that's called Rumble Reels. If you don't know, Rumble Reels is basically based off of the famous movie, or the famous not movie, but the famous what's called? I don't know what it's called. Famous theater or whatever it's called. It's famous from the Icarus. So if you don't know Icarus, he's like that god who he's like this character who flew too close to. He was trying to reach to the heavens, basically. So it was an old theater back in Greece where people would use the Icarus was. It says you shouldn't be don't fly too close to the sun because it's a reference to Icarus itself. And if you don't know who Icarus is, he's basically like an angel kind of character. So you might get an Icarus skin, who knows? But we have some important information. So the teaser shows of the one of the teaser is Aphrodite. Now, if you don't know Aphrodite, she's the goddess of love, and she was a leaked survey skin a while ago, and basically she has this kind of almost she kind of reminds me a lot I don't know. She kind of reminds me a lot some girl with old-fashioned clothes kind of thing, from 1930s or such forth. I don't know. She kind of reminds me of that. And then of course the teaser shows the wings. If you remember, Mark Rend teased about wings in his one of his reference, and I thought, oh, that was because I heard some streamers saying oh, it's like chicken wings, and it was funny. It was really funny because it looks like chicken wings. Anyways, supposedly I think we're gonna have a flying ability, be able, not wing, maybe flying wings or such forth. Maybe we'll be able to go jump up, if you remember in the rocket ram. If you remember the rocket ram, where you would jump and then kind of fly for a bit, and then or soar across the sky. So maybe we'll be able to use that ability where we can go ahead and just shoot up and then kind of soar across the sky itself, and just kind of fly like we're angels almost, like we're in heaven. Now the biggest thing I want to talk about is about so I was talking about this thing about I was recently looking at this I guess I was looking at Aries, not Aries. I was looking at the one of his I can't remember. It was I was looking at some cool animations for like for characters, like for example, like magic animations for UEFN. I mean UE, because there were some really good animations, and I'm not sure like some magic animations, and some of the like kind of a little kind of wonky and like they didn't look as like you didn't look like as cool as what I was just hoping for. But there was like some good animations and some okay animations. So basically, I was thinking like if Epic ever added like magic items like magic weapons and things like that, I imagine like it'll be more focused on like maybe something like on the belly shoot fireballs or um, what's that thing called again? Uh, or make ice spears coming out, so something like that. I was thinking like, oh, because I remember there was a leak a while ago in Epic survey in not survey in one of there's a leak a while ago talking about if you throw an ice cream grenade, it would cause like almost like icy feet or like the whole floor would turn into a frozen like almost like it'll turn everything into ice. I was thinking, oh, what that would be like, be able to use like for example like an ice lance or like an ice spear or so forth. Like you throw a spear and it'll create like a giant ice like area, kind of like in Genshin Impact. There's like a character named Rose. I can't remember her name. She would shoot this icicle lance, and then it'll kind of like create this AOE where it would make like huge icicle things like that. So something that would be cool to see. Um, so uh, yeah, just basically. Now going back to from yesterday about the some of the mythics. Now some people were like, I noticed some people are not that hype, and there are some people who are hyped. However, let's say if we are hyped, and let's say if something more important is going to happen, and something really cool is going to happen. So, as you guys know, now I mentioned about Ares is some of this didn't have a mythic, but he might have a mythic. He might not, but we'll see. He's supposed to have like some kind of maybe he might have a mythic. Who knows? But it'll be kind of interesting if Ares did have a mythic, where if like some kind of spear or javelin or like a spear or something forth, where he had a shield and he would block like similar to Captain America. So like he would have the spear to shoot the thing, and then you have like it would jab the person or such forth. So I don't know how that would work. Um, Now let's look at some really cool animations about spears and such forth, because I notice like a lot of times when I see spears, I always think like when I think of spears, like for example in Save the World, a lot of times when I see the spears, I always think that their animations kind of like it just doesn't feel as cool as like when you look at like other games that have more like a spear kind of animation. Uh, so it's kind of interesting to see that. And it was like, oh man, I was hoping that he might have like some kind of like like a lot of times in like when I look at the Save World, the animation is so old, or like I don't know, like back in 2016 or such forth when the animations when Unreal Engine was still brand new, or like it didn't have like super cool animations like nowadays. But nowadays, like with all the crazy new mechanics, that this will also increase the possibility of new weapons. We could possibly see a spear coming to creative itself, and there may be a possibility of a like using a spear and a shield. Maybe we'll be able to have a shield combo with a something like that. And we already have shields, but we never had like a mix of shields and such for like a shield with a sword or whatever. Um, Now, as for Zeus's lightning bolt, what's really interesting, Zeus's lightning bolt will have the ability to probably shoot a lightning strike. And I was like thinking like, oh wait, like it would, what would happen is that you would kind of it would, it would kind of work like where you would throw the lightning bolt, but instead of like throwing it like that, like when you're sitting, it's more like you throw it, you kind of do a jump, and then you throw it at the same time. So it's like a mythic kunai, but with more like it's like a jump or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work, but it's gonna be interesting. So that's what I'm gonna assume it's gonna how it works. So as for Hades, what's really interesting as for Hades itself, um, he also has a mythic, but for his mythic, it's slightly different. Because in the mythic boss itself, as you guys know, he has like this chain thing where he pulls people closer, and kind of like he would use a whip and to pull someone closer, like almost. I think it looks more like a chain, like slash whip thing. So you kind of like throw the chain and then grab people and then pull it in, kind of thing. So I that's what I imagine it's gonna be like. So and I imagine it's gonna do damage to builds and things like that. So it will cause fire. Now, what's really interesting is that his mythic boss, his actual mythic thing, is that he'll be able to teleport, similar to the Spire thing. But I don't know how that's gonna work. I think that they're gonna use like something like where he would um, kind of like go into like a like almost like a shadow form. Like he'll kind of go down and then reappear above. Like he'll go like some kind of shadow or something like that. So imagine like he would just like fade away and then he would disappear and then he comes reappears and then he starts attacking like crazy. And what's really interesting is like a lot of these mythic bosses will be a lot harder to actually kill, unlike the mythic bosses that exist now. Because I think what Epic's trying to do is they're trying to make it a little bit harder for you to actually get the mythic. They want to, and I always say is that the thing is I want to make sure that the mythic bosses itself are more like a challenge itself, more like a challenge. Because when you think about like getting a mythic, like any special item or such forth, it has to be you have to earn it. You can't just like I'm gonna shoot it and then dead and then done and then go get the mythic and then I have a mythic and then you like and then you just wasted all that time and then you die already and then that's done. That's why I think this new the creator of well the new creator the CEO of Epic Games right now is of course the art director is Charlie Wynn. So he is going to be increasing the fact that he's going to give. I think what he's going to do is that he's going to give like he wants the players to feel more like they're in a boss battle instead of something like you shoot the boss and then he's dead. You know, they want something a little bit more, give you a challenge, like like you want a challenge. And that's the problem. Like some people are like, but what? They're complaining all the time. The bosses are too tough. Well, if you think the bosses go too tough, go play stupid rank for Christ's sakes. And don't like, you know. And that's what like I don't understand is that like Epic is really trying to make sure that you know like you see a lot of like streamers always complain about like stupid like things like oh but the boss is so tough you know and honest opinion I'm not blaming the streamers I do understand but I think what Epic's trying to create is they're trying to make the bosses to feel uh, a little bit more challenging because right now the bosses are not that challenging because when you eliminate a boss, it's more like like, for example, nowadays bosses are a little bit more tougher, but with the possibility of making it more special is that what would be really interesting is that um, I hope bosses don't actually dance to recharge their shields. Instead, like do a little maracha and such forth. I don't understand why they do that. Maybe like some kind of like healing thing, and where they go into like a healing state where they heal, and then you can't dance. I don't know how that would work, but maybe something like that. Maybe they'll just like instead of dancing, it was just like really fast. So I don't know how that works. Yeah, but this is really interesting. So back to some of the other mythics. There is possibly a Medusa. So as you know, Medusa or the Medusa, um, will have also have a mythic, and she will be able to use dark magic, things like uh, spells and things like that. So she might be able to use like almost like curses and things like that. So she probably like have the ability to uh, suck people's like suck people's energy out of their life force, like similar to Raz's ability, where she would like have this like, and then she'll do a huge AOE damage or something like that. Would be kind of cool. So that's what I think. Now, the thing is, like, I think I know what's going on, and I think I know. I had two possibilities that there going to be one more skin that would be teased for tomorrow, and I think I know which skin it's going to be. And I mentioned I think it's going to be. I thought it was going to be Artemis, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Medusa because the reason why is a lot of times when they tease a skin, they normally tease. So they would tease first thing they would tease the. So if you remember the first teaser, we got Zeus, a somewhat a jerk face, okay, but he's not really a jerk face. He's just a good god. Um, in some cases. But you know what I mean. So, and then of course, if you take a look at like, so, uh, then we go through. Then we go from Zeus to Hades, and then from Hades to well, to Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and such forth. And then we move on to probably another evil god. Even though that Medusa is not an actual god, even though she's not an actual god, but she is technically because uh, she was actually slain by the Earth, slain by the hero. I think one of the heroes that slain Medusa in the actual lore of things. But basically, I imagine Medusa is going to be in the will be the next teaser, and I imagine she will have the ability to like she may be like holding her hands up with her like some kind of magic spheres and things like that. So I don't know how that's going to work. So maybe there'll be a constellation of her using her dark magic to create like this dark like aura around her. So um, what would be kind of really interesting is that if she had to build to maybe in the fact when she does, maybe they would be able to use like a shield attack, like a shield, for example. So if you say like say for example like let's say if you like maybe she'll have like um, a dark shield like a dark shield or something like that would be kind of cool to see. And what's really interesting to insinuate is that all these kind of cool abilities kind of remind me a lot like uh, I wouldn't say like the found like the if you remember the in the like kind of reminds me a lot like Geno. The reason why I keep saying like the reason why I think of Geno is because he wears this like what if you look at his Marvel comic outfit, he's like almost wearing this kind of like outfit that looks very like it almost looks like he's some kind of like he kind of reminds me a lot like Doctor Strange almost. Like he has this like almost like cloak with the like a like and then he wears this like kind of like the symbol and it's like he almost looks like some kind of like wizard or like some kind of magic sorcerer because if you take a look at it closely he almost looks quite identical to an actual sorcerer because when you look up like sorcerers they always wear this like almost like cloak like outfit and what's really interesting is enough. I think maybe they're teasing for a fact that we probably get something like maybe like an open world slash RPG in the near future. I'm really hoping so. Please, Epic. um, so I'm just gonna say this once. My prediction is that I think what Epic's going to try to do is that it will try to incorporate magic and different weapons and elementals. And I think we saw that in the chapter 4. If you remember when Epic introduced the if you remember the chapter, if you remember the very first chapter of chapter 4, it was very medieval like. It was very medieval like. And there was this element called kinetic energy. And it was like something that I was like, no one, like, we didn't know what it was used for. But it had like almost like this, kind of like this, like energy, like it had the power to do anything. Like it had the, like it, ever like how Amy mentioned how he could turn the, like she mentioned how she could turn the whole island into a giant smoothie in such word. But that's a joke, that was a pun, such word, because how powerful this element was. So it kind of insinuate that maybe in a like with the new Greek god theme, we probably will be able to see new type of elements added to the game, and what that means is like the ability to use like magic itself. We never actually like we never like for the longest time, Epic never really had like if you remember back in chapter like 1, there was never really like the only mythic that we had, like, the only two mythic that we ever had was Thanos's Infinity Gauntlet, and then we also had like the can't remember the Infinite Blade. I mean the Infinity Blade, right? Those were the only two mythics. Then we move on to like we never had like any mythics for the longest time, and then we had the Batman mythic after that, and that was like something out of like it was like the first time we ever had a collab mythic itself, and then well we had two collab mythics like Thanos Gauntlet and so forth. And then we move on to like chapter 2. We never had mythics for a while. Then of course when chapter 2 season 2 we had like maybe well we had the mythic goldfish also. Don't forget. Oh, the thing is like we had all these different types of mythics in the past, but most of the mythics were all the same. They all use the exact same animation. But the thing is, we never actually had the ability to do things like we never had like real life mythics, like mythics that been used in the like not in a like not a collab mythic. I mean, we had some non-collab mythics, the Sideways Scythe, the Infinite Blade. Let's see what other like. Well, those are the only two melee weapons that are mythic. We never had like any other melee weapons that are not mythic. However, since the Greek god theme is coming, right, it would make a possibility that we can finally get actual mythics for future seasons, like unique mythics. We always had gun mythics, but we never had like any type of like we never had like we never had unique mythics. Like Like the thing is, we couldn't do we. I mean, we can use the VFX device like to make like certain cool things, but like we had like couple like in chapter 4 we did have the mythic hammer now, and then we had the later on then we had the a new kinetic blade after that, and then we got the kinetic boomerang uh, and such forth, and it was every like it was pretty terrible. But what I'm basically trying to say is that we're kind of getting close, and then we also had like one another collaboration, and that was of course Deck with Smash, but that was a more like collaboration mythic and didn't really have um, any significance because it was like just a collab mythic and it was not really a official mythic from Epic itself. It was just a collab mythic. But now we had like a couple. I think we had at least a couple of like season chapter threes, uh, mythics, but they were all like mythic guns and so forth. But we never really had a was quote unquote um, mythic weapon instead of a mythic gun. Hmm. But you know what I mean? It's like it means that we could possibly finally get mythic, uh, mythic, like well, we can finally get like unique mythic weapons. Like maybe we'll be able to finally get like magic itself. Because back then, like the only item that uses magic was Doctor Doom. We had some magic related stuff, like if you remember, foundations and gauntlets, but the thing is, they never released those gauntlets because because and they were planning to release rift guns, but it didn't work because it wouldn't work because it was just rifting away. So I mean, nowadays it can work. Like, I mean, it could just like, I mean, when you fire it, it would just like close people in, and it'll kind of like create this small rift and it disappears like a black hole. So like a small rift, and it will just disappear like that. Um, we never actually had mythic, like mythic guns, and I mean mythic weapons itself. We only had like a. We only had collab mythic weapons in the past, but we never had we had right now we only have uh gun mythic weapons itself, and that's sideways scythe and the infinity blade. Those are the only two, and I'm thinking with this new season, I'm thinking that Epic might introduce new mythic weapons in the near future. For example, like a spear, maybe a lance. Also, a lot of people are confused between a lance and a spear. The difference between a spear and a lance is that a spear is more kind of where you kind of it's longer and it has more of a faster swing ability. As for a lance itself, a lance is more kind of like a javelin, but it's more like a bigger spear itself. Pretty much, it's like a bigger spear. Pretty much, some people like a spear and a lance are both the same thing. It just has a spear just has a much thinner end, while a lance is just really big. So, um, in any case, that I'm thinking it would kind of nice if we can finally get some, maybe we'll finally get the actual melee weapons that were supposed to be announced a while ago. If you remember, in the there was supposed to be a spear device, a spear weapon, but it didn't came because it was not really. I don't know why, but now we're gonna get these cool mythic bosses. We're probably gonna get Ares, Cerberus, and all those kind. We're also gonna get monsters, mini bosses around the map. So I'm really hoping that we'll be able to see mythic bosses, well, not mythic bosses, but mythic mini bosses, like not like henchmen mini bosses, more like tiny little mini bosses, like monsters and things like that. So who knows? I'm really hoping that when we do get in, when we do like get go to like maybe we'll finally get an RPG type of game mode in creative. It's I mean in the future because I know it's been talked about for the longest time, but it's not been released for the longest time. This open world, it's not the Lego mode because I know you guys are probably thinking it's probably the Lego mode. No, it's not the Lego mode because the difference between the Lego mode and this open world is like more focused on building and like constructing. It's more like building new areas around the map, so new biomes. But I don't know, has been announced. I'm just really kind of like hoping one day we'll finally get something like that. So maybe with this new season we'll finally get. Because I remember a while ago, so long ago, it was so long ago, and they never. It was this game mode called Saturn. And it was supposed to get released sometime soon, and then it got removed. It was scrapped completely, and now we could possibly finally see the light of that day of that open world that was supposed to be announced for a while ago, and in the Apple versus Epic documents, if you remember that. But it won't be. It'll probably look a lot different. What would be really interesting is that maybe with the new Greek god mythology season, we might get like unique bosses in that like specifics in that actual like in that what's it called in that in the I can't remember in that open world slash MMO where we or some kind of single player game mode. I don't know what it's gonna be. Where we see like unique bosses, like for example, like a chimera, or what other bosses are there, and well, like maybe we'll be able to see like like Cerberus, like the actual real form of Cerberus, not the kind of like the human version, but more like the big one, the big dog, the big monster Cerberus. So what'll be kind of really interesting is that if there was bigger, if Cerberus was the big boss kind of creature in the map, well, if he became a boss itself, it would become like I think it'll like have like different abilities and such forth. But I think I'm taking this video too long because I said mention a lot of things, and I think what I'm gonna just put this out there is that most of this stuff is just basically off of what I want in the future, and they're mainly and we talked about like the teaser already. It hasn't been like it's not on the PlayStation right now, but it's been teased on Twitter. So I mentioned about Icarus. I mentioned so many things, and you know such for it. And we'll see. Like personally, I'm really excited about this season itself. Will I play it? Maybe, because depending on if the player base is gonna, if it's not gonna be too like sweaty and such for it. But I'm really hoping that we'll be able to use these mythic weapons and mythic. Maybe it'll have unique abilities. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure Zeus's Thunderbolt will allow you to jump, like probably allow you to jump like really high and kind of stuff. And then you would shoot the bolt down like not like the kunai, but it'll shoot like you'll jump and then you'll shoot the lightning bolt really fast. So it's I don't know how it's gonna work, but yeah, and I'm really hoping that we'll finally get the spear in creative, and I'm hoping it'll be more unique to the actual like with the I saw some really there was an animation of a spear like a real spear and looked more it looked more like an actual it looked more like the spear itself, but that's it. I'm making this video too long, but anyways, I hope you guys do enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe new, and of course I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.